All right, let's dive into this blue ocean strategy thing. I know from your notes that you wanted to explore making some strategic moves. Sounds right up this alley, right?
It really is. Imagine, instead of a red ocean, choppy, bloody, all those sharks fighting over scraps.
Brutal.
Yeah. You've got this calm blue ocean, vast, unexplored. That's what blue ocean strategy is all about. Creating your own market space, no competition. Or at least we're the competition. It's just irrelevant.
Okay, I love that picture. But how do we actually create a new market? Sounds a little like wishing for a magic wand.
Well, it's not magic, but you hit it on the head with the word create. It's a mindset shift.
Huh?
We're ditching that old idea of just being better than the competition. Blue ocean strategy, it's about what they call value innovation. So unique, so compelling, it makes the competition fade away.
Value innovation. I like the sound of that. Give me the rundown.
Okay, imagine this. Instead of choosing between being the cheapest or our being the most different, you do both.
Wait, you can do that?
That's value innovation. Great value for the customer, lower cost for you. Win-win.
Okay, that makes sense on paper, but is it really possible?
Absolutely. And a perfect example, Cirque du Soleil. They took a dying industry, the circus, and flipped the script.
Cirque du Soleil. Okay, now that's an example I can get behind. Everyone loves Cirque du Soleil. What's their secret? How'd they make a blue ocean in a market that honestly seemed a little tired?
They reimagined what a circus could be. Instead of competing with those old school circuses, exotic animals, dangerous stunts, all that costly stuff,
They just got rid of it.
they stripped it away. They focused on creating something sophisticated, theatrical, a totally different experience.
So not just a fancier version of the same old circus, they created a whole new thing.
Exactly. And it worked. They weren't fighting for scraps in a crowded market anymore. They created a whole new audience. Adults who wouldn't be caught dead at a regular circus were suddenly paying big bucks for Cirque du Soleil.
Talk about thinking outside the box. They took a dying industry and found a way not just to survive, but to thrive by completely changing what a circus could be. Okay, Cirque du Soleil, that's impressive, but I'm sure our listeners thinking, okay, that's nice for them, but how do I actually find my own blue ocean? Got any practical tips for that? Tools, frameworks, anything like that?
Absolutely. The 4 actions framework is a great place to start.
4 actions? Okay, I'm listening.
Actually, it's more helpful to think of them as questions. First one, what can we get rid of? What does our industry take for granted that we can just eliminate?
Eliminate entirely, like cut the fat, get rid of things that are standard but maybe don't actually add value.
You got it. Then, second question, what can we reduce? Not eliminate, but streamline, do more efficiently without sacrificing the good stuff.
Interesting. So it's about being lean and mean. What's next?
And then we flip the script. Third question, what can we elevate? What can we do way better than anyone else, something truly exceptional?
So that's where we stand out. Offer something the competition hasn't even thought of. Makes sense.
Right. And finally, the most exciting question, what can we create that our industry has never seen before?
Okay, now that's where the magic happens. Pure innovation, right there. I bet that's where a lot of those aha moments happen.
Definitely. And to illustrate this, let's look at Yellowtail wine.
Oh, Yellowtail, nice. I remember when they hit the market, it was like a revolution. What's their blue ocean story?
Well, they looked at the wine industry and they asked those 4 questions. They realized a lot of people were intimidated by wine. All those fancy terms, the expensive bottles.
Oh, yeah, totally. Some of us just want to drink,
Exactly. Yellowtail, they saw all those potential customers being ignored. So what do? Eliminated the stuffiness, the jargon, they reduced the complexity, kept it simple.
So easier to choose, less pressure.
Exactly. And then they elevated the fun factor, that bright, colorful label, the whole vibe, approachable, friendly.
And the price point, right. Wasn't Yellowtail really affordable?
You're right. They weren't aiming for the high-end market, so they didn't need to compete on price.
It's brilliant. They made wine accessible, enjoyable for everyone, not just experts. That's what thinking differently can do. But how do we actually visualize all of this? How do we know what to eliminate, reduce, raise, create?
That's where another tool comes in, the value curve.
Yeah.
It's how you visually map out your company compared to the competition, focusing on the things your customers really care about.
A map, like visually, so we can actually see where we stand and where the opportunities might be.
Exactly. And when you compare your value curve to your competitors, that's when you see where you can break away, create that blue ocean. Now, we've been talking a lot about new markets, but sometimes it's not about inventing something totally new, right? It's about seeing the old stuff with fresh eyes. That's where reconstructing market boundaries comes in.
Okay, Reconstructing market boundaries. Now, that's an interesting phrase. How do we actually do that?
So there are these 6 paths. Each one has these thought-provoking questions that really get you thinking. For example, one path is about looking at totally different industries, not just your competitors, but how do other businesses solve similar problems, meet similar needs?
I'm starting to get it. It's like expanding the scope, looking beyond the obvious.
Exactly. Or another path, looking at different groups within your industry. Like in the car world, you've got luxury brands, economy brands. But what if you combine the best of both?
Right, blend the best of everything, appeal to even more people. Are there companies that have actually pulled this off?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
NetJets, for example. Remember them? They pioneered that whole fractional jet ownership thing.
Oh, yeah. Fancy.
Right. Well, they looked at airlines, they looked at private jets, 2 totally different things, and they said, what if we bridge that gap?
Created a whole new category in the sky. Pretty impressive.
Right. And then there's curves. They looked at the gym scene and realized it's pretty male-dominated, so they said, let's create a gym just for women.
And they were huge. It's amazing how often the best ideas, they come from just paying attention to a specific group whose needs aren't being met.
Absolutely. Like Novartis when they came out with the insulin pen. Instead of focusing on doctors, they focused on the patients themselves.
And that changed everything. Focusing on the end user, the patient in this case, that's how they realized there was a need for something more convenient, more discreet.
Exactly. Revolutionized diabetes care. And it all started with a shift in perspective. These examples, they show that it's not just about thinking outside the box. It's about questioning whether the box even needs to exist.
That's powerful. But even with the best strategy, you need to actually execute it, right? Otherwise, it's just an idea.
100%. That's where tipping point leadership comes in. It's about how leaders can drive big changes, not by forcing people, but by creating excitement, a sense of urgency.
Inspiring people, not just ordering them around.
Exactly. Look at Samsung. Back in the early 2000s, they were known for cheap electronics, but they wanted to be a leader in innovation.
And they totally transformed. Now they're all about cutting-edge tech. How did they pull that off?
New management. That was their thing. Building a strong culture, fostering creativity, investing in research and development. And they made bold moves, scrapped entire product lines that weren't up to par.
Not afraid to make the tough calls, huh?
Nope. But it wasn't just about the big stuff. They also knew how important fair process is, making sure everyone understood the why, felt included in the journey.
Because change is scary. People need to know they're being heard, that their contributions matter.
Absolutely. When people feel valued, they're much more likely to get on board, go the extra mile.
This has been incredible. We've talked about blue ocean strategy, tools for finding your own blue ocean, and even the importance of leadership, execution, the whole 9 yards. Any final thoughts for our listeners as they head out on their own blue ocean adventures?
Just remember, it's not a one and done thing. The business world is always changing, so you got to adapt, evolve your strategy as you go.
No resting on your laurels. It's all about staying flexible, being open to new ideas, challenging your own assumptions.
And don't be afraid to make mistakes. Sometimes that's the best way to learn and find that blue ocean.
Well said. And on that note, a huge thank you to our listeners for joining us on this deep dive. We've loved exploring this with you, and we can't wait to hear about the amazing things you achieve.
Thank you for watching. If you're passionate about learning and want to level up your knowledge, make sure to hit that subscribe button. On our channel, we break down the best books into easy-to-digest summaries that will help you become smarter, think critically, and make better decisions. Don't miss out on your chance to grow and stay ahead.